Welcome to video 6 of 7, Introduction to Pivot Tables. If you haven't yet watched the previous videos, please go back and watch those first. A pivot table is a dynamic tool for data analysis that allows you to quickly summarize and arrange data according to its dimensions. Data dimension in DHIS2 are data elements explaining what the data mean, periods representing the time variable, and the geographical location of the data. The pivot table can arrange data on columns, rows, and filters. To begin, click on the Apps button in the upper right corner of your homepage. A drop-down menu will appear listing the apps available in DHIS2. Click on the pivot table icon. If you do not see the pivot table icon, click on More Apps. The screen should be divided in two. On the left side, you will find the pivot table setting options, and on the right side, the pivot tables will be displayed. You can select any number of dimension items. You can select an item by marking it and clicking the arrow in the section header, or simply double-clicking the item. For indicator and data element dimensions, you must first select one or all groups from the group list. You can then select data elements from the available items list. For the period dimension, you can choose between using fixed periods or relative periods. An example of a fixed period is January 2013. Relative periods are periods relative to the current date. An example of relative period is last month. For the organization unit dimension, you can select any number of organization units from the hierarchy. Click on the plus sign for a drop-down menu of all the subunits within the parent. You can click directly to select one subunit, or you can select all subunits by clicking on the first subunit, holding the Shift key, and selecting the last subunit. In order to identify the correct organizational unit, it's important to know at which level the data you are interested in was entered. For example, all data entered into the Health Services Report is entered at the country organization unit level, so you would simply need to click on the country name to view data entered into the Health Services Report for that platform. After selecting data dimensions, it is time to arrange your pivot table. Click Layout in the top menu to open the Layout screen. In this screen, you can position your data dimensions as table columns, rows, or filters by clicking and dragging the dimensions from the dimension list to the respective column, row, and filter lists. You can set any number of dimensions in any of the lists. After you have set up your pivot table, you can click Update to render your pivot table, or click Hide to hide the layout screen without any changes taking effect. Several table options are available when working with a pivot table. Open the Options screen by clicking on Options in the top menu. The following options are available: Show Totals, Show Subtotals, Hide Empty Rows, Show Hierarchy, Display Density, Font Size, Digit Group Separator, and Legend Set. When selecting and arranging dimensions, there are a few constraints that apply. All of these constraints are validated, and the pivot table module will provide feedback if any constraint is violated. 1. At least one dimension must be selected on columns or rows. 2. At least one period must be included in the pivot table. 3. Data element group sets and reporting rates cannot appear in the same pivot table. And 4. A table cannot contain more than 10,000 cells for performance reasons. Once your pivot table is ready, click on the download icon on the top center menu to save the chart as an image or a PDF. The file will be downloaded to your computer. When you have set up a pivot table, it is convenient to save it as a favorite. To do so, click Favorites on the top menu. Click Add New. Give the favorite a descriptive name and click Create. You can search for favorites through the Search Input field at the top. To load an existing favorite, simply click on the name of the favorite in the list. To rename a favorite, click on the gray Rename icon next to the favorite in the list. Change the name and click Update. To overwrite an existing favorite with the current pivot table, click on the green Overwrite button. To share a favorite with everyone or a user group, click on the blue Share icon. To delete a favorite, click on the red Delete icon. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions or would like more information, please visit our support center at support.psi-mis.org.